Hello there. This video is just to answer some of the questions that I didn't get around to answering on the live stream on Sunday night. The first question comes from Alpha Drone, who says, Windswept Robert, is the Mini 3 faster? Alpha Drone, no, it isn't faster. Both the Mini 2 and the Mini 3 fly at 16 metres per second horizontally. The next question comes from Graham Lindsay. I have bought a Drone Mask 2 on your personal recommendation, so do I get a refund from you if I don't like it? No, Graham, you don't. I hope you bought it using my link in the description, because I think you might have got a 5 to 15% discount if you did. So if you didn't, you've cut your nose off to spite your face. The next question's from Doogie's Drone, who says, Keeks Vanna slated the drone mask the day after I ordered one. Well, Keeks Vanna, and Sean is entitled to his own opinion, as am I. He might not think it's any good, but I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. Logan Scotland asks, would you give us a song please, Robert? Sorry Logan, no I can't. I've explained why before. If I start singing songs on this, I'll get copyright claimed, and I earn little enough ad revenue for these YouTube videos as it is, so no. Graham Patterson asks, are there any free editing apps? Aye, Graham, there are quite a lot. One, if you have the Apple systems and you use Macs and things like that, the one that I recommend you start with that's free is iMovie. And the reason I recommend that one is because it's the wee brother of Final Cut Pro, which is the one that I use. And if you start off with iMovie and you get used to that, then it's not quite such a jump to go to Final Cut Pro, because it's very similar, it just has some more features. There are other ones, apps, editing apps available for Android and for PC and things like that, but I'm afraid you'll just have to Google them. I don't use any of them. Surly Dev asks, have you ever used the Litchi app? What are your opinions? Aye, I've used Litchi app and I've used Maven and I've even used Rainbow. I've tested them all and I've compared them all. There are videos available on the channel, old ones and recent ones, and you can see my personal preference is Maven, and that may be because I use an iPhone connected to my controller, and I just find that Maven works really well for me and Litchi is a bit glitchy. And Mark Sullivan, our great moderator, backs that up by saying, Surly Dev, he has done several videos using both Litchi and Maven. So there you go. Mavic Airflyer UK says, don't you have autofocus on? Yes, I did have the autofocus on. I've made a video since Sunday night, since the live stream, where I speak about this whole autofocus and manual focus and focusing problem that the Mini 3 has. So that should be out, hopefully for the weekend. Paul Taylor says, I wonder if there is an anamorphic lens for the Mini 2. Paul, I don't think there is. Freewell send me all of their lenses and their filters as they produce them, if I have a drone for it, and they even offer me lenses for drones I don't have. They asked me if I wanted lenses and filters for the Mavic 3 Classic and for the Avata, which I said no because I don't have them yet. I'm thinking I might get an Avata though, so I may contact them and get the lenses for that. So if there was an anamorphic lens for the Mini 2 by Freewell, they would have sent me it already. I don't think there will be one by anyone else, because if any manufacturer had made an anamorphic lens for the Mini 2, then Freewell would have made them too. Jim Thorley asks, was the drone on when you put the filter on and it focused on you putting it on? It's a good question, Jim, but no. And that may have been the answer. Because the camera on the Mini 3, you can actually focus it. You can change focus, unlike the Mini 2, which is a fixed focus lens. Then that could have been a possibility, but no. And I've made a wee video, like I just said a moment ago, that will be coming out this weekend, talking more about this autofocus problem. Aussie 1957 says, say nitty gritty again, it's fun. I just did. Nitty gritty. There, you happy now? Okay. And the next one is from Peter Mannering, who says, a tardy good evening, what have I missed? Peter, as usual, you've missed nothing. Graham Lindsay again. Answering your question there, Peter. He says, just Robert ranting about Mini 3 not focusing on his lens tests. Aye, and as I said twice now, I'm in the process of creating a video about that issue that the Mini 3 has, or the Mini 3 camera has. I'm hoping to get it out for this weekend, but it depends on how fast I can do other things. The Bearded Bodger says, so glad I've seen this before buying my first drone. Guess I'll make my mind up at the end. On a side note, I'm glad there is some Mini 2s for sale second hand now because I'm in a tight budget. I think the reason that I've put this comment up here, Bodger, is because I think Mark has a wee comment to say about that, which is this. Bearded Bodger, be careful buying second hand. A lot of people have bought them and they're still bound to someone else's account. That can be an issue if you're buying a second hand drone. It will be bound to the original owner's account, and if you can't get in contact with them or they're not technically enough minded to unbind it, you could have a problem. So if you're going to save 40, 50, 60 pounds by buying a second hand one as compared with a new one, might be worth spending the wee bit extra and just getting a new Mini 2, eh? Doug Curry says, there will be no way to use Maven if you have the new RC, right? Not the RCN1. I take it you mean the RM330. Even after DJI releases its SDK for the Mini 3. I don't know about that, Doug. I think you probably will, because at the moment you can use the RM330 to watch YouTube videos on it. So it may be possible to download third-party apps once the SDK is released. I don't know for sure. There's nothing wrong with the RCN1 in my opinion. As you well know, I think it's a better controller than the RM330. Gary Douglas says, regarding VLOS, I recall you once said that if it isn't actually written down in law, then it's not legally binding, or something similar. Could you clarify your views on this? Aye, Gary, my views are very simple. If something is a law, it means there has been an act of parliament and that it is written down in legislation and you can actually see it and you can read it word for word. If it's a regulation or a bit of guidance or something that is not actually an act of parliament, it's not a law. You can't be done for breaking the law if you're breaking some guidance that isn't actually an act of parliament. There you go. And I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just telling you what I think and what I believe to be true. And I'm right. Kamikaze Chaos says, how many 3 plus batteries you have? I think 3 plus batteries is just enough. I don't have any plus batteries, Kamikaze Chaos. I have 3 of the standard batteries and they do me just fine. Yummy Skills says, is Maven or Litchi better? Yummy Skills, I prefer Maven, and that may be because I fly using an iPhone on my controller, and it just seems that the Maven only works with iPhone. It's only been developed for iPhone. I've tried Litchi, which you can use with an iPhone or an Android, and Litchi has never really worked all that well for me. It works sometimes, it doesn't work sometimes, and it doesn't get very good results for me with an iPhone. If you have an iPhone, it's Maven all the way. Caroline Tyler RC says, CE mode is an offence. That's not a question, Caroline, but I couldn't agree more. Flying CE mode, which gives you a very, very poor signal, is liable to cause you more problems and possibly crashes, possibly dropping out of the ground, other problems than flying in FCC mode. But we're stuck in the UK with some pretty archaic laws and rules, if you ask me. Gary Douglas again says, would you need a spotter when using the drone mask regarding VLOS requirement? I'm not drone police and my views on VLOS are very similar to yours. Keep up the good and informative work. Thanks very much, Gary. According to the CAA regulations, if you are using a mask of any kind that restricts you from having visual line of sight of your drone, then you require a spotter. Hope that answered your question. Johnny Mac says, FCC mode rules, lol. So I heard that as well, Johnny. I heard FCC gets you an incredible signal strength. That's what I heard. Magic says, are you still going to do a video about cover drone insurance and the process like you said you would? I'm interested in getting the insurance for my drone, thanks. Magic, I will get it done. I've got all of it laid out, I've got it all planned, and I've got all the little bits and bobs I need. It's just finding the time to do it. If I can advise you just now, if you don't want to take the care refresh, or if your care refresh has lapsed and you can't renew it, then Cover Drone is very, very good. I have no problem with them at all. I'm absolutely satisfied and happy with the insurance claim that I put in for my DJI Mini 2 and my insurance claim that I put in for the DJI FPV, and I've got no qualms about recommending Cover Drone. They're not paying me, I'm not sponsored by them, They don't give me a discount for telling you this. I don't even think they know my opinion on it. But I absolutely recommend CoverDrone. Other insurance companies may be just as good. I don't know. I was with CoverDrone and they were absolutely excellent. And yes, when I get round to it, I will be doing a full video on it. And Magic, while we're on you, you also asked, don't you think the Mini 3 is uglier than the Mini 2? The Mini 2 just looks sleeker. I suppose if you're into rating inanimate objects in terms of ugliness and beauty, then isn't beauty in the eye of the beholder? You know, some people like the shape of a Porsche and some people like the shape of a Jaguar. Dave Cullen Photography says, what about filter tests on the Mini 3? Dave, I have been out and I've done a filter test and a filter comparison test with the Mini 3 just yesterday, I think it was, I went out. So I'll be putting that video together and it'll be getting published very soon. Magic again. Where do you get the skins for the drones? I like the Scottish flag on Lassie. Magic. That skin was actually sent to me by one of my subscribers about a year and a half ago, and that's why it's looking a wee bit kind of tatty and a wee bit worn, but that was from one of my subscribers. There are websites, you can Google them, and there are websites available that you can get almost any skin you want. Jim Thorley says, can your Mini 2 fly more than 40 minutes? No, my Mini 2 can't fly more than 40 minutes, Jim. If yours can, stick up a video and show us, because I don't believe you. Dave Cullen Photography asks again, does the Mini 2 do time or hyperlapses? I don't think it does them, as in there's a quick shot available to do that, Dave. I haven't checked. I don't really use the quick shots very much. There may be a hyperlapse one in there. I don't think there is though, but I believe you can create your own hyperlapse and your own time lapse video using the Mini 2. There's a method of doing it, but I don't think it's built into the DJI Fly app for the Mini 2. Kamikaze Chaos asks, N1 controller is better because you can FCC patch. Well, he's not asking, he's telling us. If you are a person that would like to use FCC mode, then you can use it with the RC N1. You cannot use it with the RM330. You're right, Kamikaze Chaos, so there is always that. Gary Douglas asks, how easy was it to start using the Maven app with the Mini 2? Quick to get into or a bit involved or fiddly? For me, Gary, it was very easy. It's the same as the DJI flap, except that the HUD, the head-up display, looks a bit different. So the interface that you're looking at looks a bit slightly different, but it only takes a few minutes. It only took me a few minutes. Oh, we're wobbling. The camera's wobbling. It only took me a few minutes to get used to the new symbols and to understand what they meant. And also there's new features in the new menu, but it flies pretty much the same. You know, well, it flies exactly the same, except that you've got an additional couple of features. Didn't take me long at all. If you've been flying with the DJI Fly app for a while, it'll be no bother for you to go out and fly with Maven. You don't have to uninstall the DJI Fly app to have Maven. You can have the two of them installed side by side, and you can switch between them if you like. And if you're thinking, oh, I'm up with Maven, but I'm not really sure what I'm doing, you can close Maven down. The drone will just hover while you're doing it, and bring up the DJI Fly app, and then continue to fly with the DJI Fly app, and just keep doing that if you like until you're a bit more confident in using the interface that comes with Maven. Okay. Jim Thorley says, do you remember slagging off the Mini 3, then making a video admitting you were wrong? Jim, I remember every video I have made on my YouTube channel, and I will tell you that my opinions will change as new data arrives. I'm not one of these people who forms an opinion and will stick to that opinion no matter what the evidence is. If I have an opinion and then something comes into that I can see my original opinion was wrong, I'll change it. And then if more information comes in, more data arrives to say that my original opinion was correct, then I'll change my mind again. And I think that's the correct way to go. Why would you want to be stuck in your views and not have a fixed position, disregarding any new data that comes in? Doug Curry says, if you're not a YouTuber recording your screen for your uploads, is there any other reason to put a micro card in the new RC? Aye, Doug, I think there is. I think it could be very useful for you reviewing that telemetry later on. If something maybe went a bit wrong, or something didn't feel right, or something unusual happened, or you wanted to know anything that the telemetry could help you to understand and help you to see, and maybe make things a bit clearer for you. So although you might not want to post the telemetry up on YouTube, it's still a useful feature for you to have to look at later on, I think. Cyril Walker says, do you know how much it costs to pay for a spotter these days, Robert? I have got no idea. When I take my spotter at Eddie, he's happy with a rolling bacon and a cup of tea. Simply Scotland says, my wife wants a pair of windswept underpants. Well, tell her if she sends me a pair of her underpants, I'll maybe send her a pair of mine, right? Stevie Elder says, cool, can I do a trolling comment for next week? Of course you can, Stevie. Stick it on and you'll probably see it on Sunday night. Gimbalair says, are all your trollers camp? Of course they are. Of course they are. Jim Rooney says, if you never owned a drone and no camera experience whatsoever and only seen a drone on YouTube, would you buy the 2 or 3 as a first drone? Jim, it depends how much money you've got, what your bank balance is, and how much you can afford. If you can afford the Mini 3, get the Mini 3, right? I would recommend getting the RC-N1 with it rather than the M330. But if you can afford the Mini 3, get it. If you can't afford the Mini 3, get the Mini 2. I think overall, I prefer the Mini 2. I think the Mini 2 is a better drone, given everything. You know, if you take everything into consideration, including price, including the camera, I just prefer the Mini 2. But the Mini 3 certainly has a few extra wee features that the Mini 2 doesn't have. So if money's no problem, you get them both. And the final question tonight that I didn't answer on Sunday night comes from Peter Mannering, who says, can we just buy the Mini 3 with one battery and use our existing controller? It's kind of like what they did with the Avatar. They brought out a version where you could just buy the Avatar and a battery. If you already had the DJI FPV, you had your goggles, you had your controller, you could fly it. I don't think DJI have released a version of the Mini 3 like that yet, Peter, but who knows, they may well do. And I suppose if you contacted them and asked them if you could just buy that version, you know, they may put a package together for you. I don't know. Right, so that's it. I hope I answered everyone's question. I think I went through it carefully, and I think every single question that I hadn't answered on Sunday night got an answer there. So thanks very much for watching this one, and I'll hopefully catch you on the live stream on Sunday.